A Mortal's Journey to Immortality Episode 257. In the previous episode, Han Li attended a rare assembly of the most powerful cultivators in the Heavenly South. The atmosphere was tense as the leaders of the three great powers, the fearsome Old Devil Concord, the calm and calculating Master Sunreach, and the mysterious Wei Wuya, took charge of the meeting. Their presence alone filled the vast hall with immense spiritual might, silencing all opposition. News soon broke that the Moulan had officially issued a challenge of war. If the cultivators refused their terms, a deadly confrontation would erupt within 7 days. The challenge was audacious, demanding half of the Heavenly South in exchange for peace, and it shook the gathered sects to their core. As the jade slip containing the war challenge passed from hand to hand, anger and suspicion filled the room. Some proposed stalling for time, while others called for immediate battle. Yet beneath their arguments lay a deeper unease. The Moulan had proposed 10 wagered duels to the death, fought within a sealed barrier where no one could flee or cheat. To Han Li, it was clear that the Moulan had some hidden scheme. Still, the righteous Dao Alliance insisted that the challenge must be accepted, claiming it was their only option. Old Man Quang frowned and discontentedly said, What does Master Sunreach mean? We cannot allow ourselves to be led by the nose by the Moulan. And episode 257 is starting. Master Sunreach sullenly said, We are well aware that there is something suspicious about this. But the Moulan had captured many cultivators on their warpath, a majority of them being 9 Nations Union cultivators, and in the process of providing assistance. Many of our sect disciples have also been captured. The envoy stated that they have about 1,000 captives in total. The atmosphere in the hall grew tense. Old Man Quang immediately asked in alarm, What did they say? Are they going to execute the captives if we don't agree to their conditions? Are the Moulan not afraid of our retaliation? Master Sunreach quickly replied, The envoy didn't say that. However, he mentioned there's a chance to rescue the cultivators, in addition to the materials wagered for each of the 10 duels. Each battle will also wager the freedom of 100 captive cultivators. Everyone in the hall exchanged uneasy glances. 1,000 cultivators weren't many, and most of them were likely low-ranked, but abandoning them would damage the reputation of their sects. Moreover, those captives represented the common soldiers and junior disciples who had risked their lives on the battlefield. If they were given up, the morale of the allied forces would plummet. Long Han sighed heavily, saying, Who would have thought these grassland savages could be so cunning? In their previous invasions, they charged blindly without strategy. But this time, they act with deceit and intelligence. It makes one uneasy. Master Sunreach looked across the room, his expression grave. It seems everyone understands we cannot refuse this battle. Regardless of what the Moulan are planning, we must defeat their spell warriors. Otherwise, our morale will collapse. Still, this wagered battle appears straightforward. They must have other motives. However, we will monitor everything carefully. If anything seems wrong, we'll stop the battles immediately. Of course, he added calmly, since this is a life or death match, we will not force anyone to join. The cultivators silently sneered. Voluntary? They thought? Nobody wanted to volunteer for a deadly match. After hundreds of years of cultivation, who would risk their life so easily? Han Li also remained quiet. Although he didn't mind contributing to the war effort, he had no interest in throwing his life away for uncertain gain. He still remembered the near-death experience at the Yellow Dragon Mountains and had no wish to repeat it. Old Devil Concord grew impatient with the silence. His cold snort echoed like thunder, sending chills down the spines of those present. Yet, none of the cultivators spoke up. Seeing this, Master Sunreach sighed helplessly, while Wei Wuya simply narrowed his eyes and said nothing. To break the awkward tension, Master Sunreach added, Before we came here, we discussed this matter. Since the wagered battles are dangerous, we've decided that any spoils or treasures obtained will belong entirely to the victor. That should make the risk more worthwhile. Also, he said, sweeping his gaze around the room, we possess some rare materials that could interest you. When his eyes settled on Han Li's heart skipped a beat. What could Master Sunreach be implying? Despite the tempting offer, no one stepped forward. Then, Wei Wuya quietly turned his head toward Taoist Shattered Soul and began sending a voice transmission. The gloomy Taoist suddenly straightened up, his expression shifting from surprise to delight. For a brief moment, the two communicated silently. Soon after, Taoist Shattered Soul hesitated, then finally said aloud, "Fine, as long as you uphold your promise. I'll brave danger this once." The hall fell into stunned silence. Then, Devil Cloudpart rose and coldly said, "Since fellow Taoist Shattered Soul is participating, I'll join as well. It would be a shame if those rare materials slipped through my fingers." His tone was calm, but faint anger flickered in his eyes. The others were astonished. What had convinced these two powerful cultivators to accept such a risky offer? Then the three great cultivators, Master Sunreach, Wei Wuya, and Old Devil Concord, began secretly sending voice transmissions to various people in the hall. One by one, some cultivators hesitantly agreed to participate. Only two stubbornly refused. Han Li sat quietly, lost in thought, until Master Sunreach's voice suddenly reached his ears through a transmission. "Fellow Taoist Han, I heard you are searching for a large quantity of auric essence. Is that true?" Han Li's heart thumped. Of course they knew. His request through the Heavenly Tao Alliance was no secret. After regaining his composure, he replied calmly, "That's right, I require auric essence to refine my magic treasure. Does fellow Taoist Sunreach have some to spare?" Master Sunreach smiled faintly. "Indeed, fellow Taoist Wei and I each have a large piece of auric essence, more than enough for your needs. Are you interested?" After a moment's thought, Han Li replied cautiously, "I'd like to examine the auric essence first to see if it meets my requirements. Then I'll decide." Master Sunreach nodded with a smile. That was enough. Within a short time, 5 cultivators had agreed to fight. Though they all hesitated, their eventual compliance satisfied the leaders. The meeting then shifted to planning strategies for dealing with the Moulan's spell formations and battle arrays. But Han Li's mind had already drifted elsewhere. He couldn't stop thinking about the auric essence. His current flying swords, the bamboo cloud swarm swords, were powerful but no longer enough for the challenges he faced. Against ordinary enemies, they sufficed. Against true experts, however, they fell short. He knew that if he could complete the final stage of the Azure Essence Sword Art, the Aureate Sword Formation, his power would rise dramatically. That formation would allow him to battle even late-stage nascent soul cultivators on equal ground. But to craft it, he needed a vast amount of auric essence. If Sunreach truly possessed enough, perhaps it was worth the risk. Besides, Han Li reasoned, unless his opponent was one of the Moulan divine sages, he would have nothing to fear. Even if there were tricks involved, his thunderstorm wings and purple apex flames would allow him to escape safely. Having reached that conclusion, Han Li calmed himself and refocused on the ongoing discussion. The meeting continued for nearly 2 hours under Master Sunreach's leadership. Old Devil Concord occasionally spoke up, while Wei Wuya remained silent throughout. Han Li noticed how much both Sunreach and Concord respected Long Han. Whenever matters concerning the Heavenly Tao Alliance arose, they sought his opinion, confirming the rumors that Long Han and his wife were powerful enough to stand against the 3 great cultivators. Finally, as the meeting drew to a close, those not participating in the wagered battles were assigned support tasks. Master Sunreach dismissed the assembly, encouraging everyone to prepare well for what was to come. However, when the hall emptied, 3 people remained behind: Han Li, Devil Cloudpart, and a beautiful woman with a pale, bloodless complexion. The woman had been silent through the entire meeting, just like Han Li. And that wraps up this episode. In this part, we saw the leaders of the Cultivation Alliance facing a cunning trap set by the Moulan. Their enemy was no longer relying on brute force alone, but on manipulation and strategy. By using the captured cultivators as bargaining chips, the Moulan forced the Alliance into accepting a series of deadly wagered battles, each one risking the lives of powerful experts in exchange for the freedom of 100 prisoners. Through this, we witnessed the tension and fear that gripped the high-ranking cultivators. None wished to risk their lives, yet none could refuse, knowing that morale across their armies depended on their response. It revealed how fragile unity could be when weighed against personal survival. Han Li, as always, remained calm and cautious. Although he had no desire to participate, the offer of auric essence, an extremely rare material needed to strengthen his bamboo cloud swarm swords and complete the aureate sword formation, tempted him. His quiet contemplation showed his practical and strategic nature. He would not fight recklessly. But neither would he miss a rare opportunity to advance his power. This episode highlighted the growing intelligence of the Moulan and the difficult choices faced by the cultivators of the Nine Nations. It also foreshadowed Han Li's possible involvement in the upcoming battles, where both danger and opportunity await him. If you enjoyed this episode or found it interesting, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to get notifications for the newest episodes following Han Li's journey. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.